The big advantage of a limited company. Most property investors are missing a trick. They buy properties in their personal name and they end up paying way more tax than they need to. This video will explain in simple terms why smart investors use limited companies. And no, this isn't financial advice and it's not as complicated as it sounds. So let's start with tip number one, tax savings. Tax savings, buying in your personal name, you pay income tax on rental profits, which can be up to 45%. And even if you're not the highest tax bracket, at least 40%. So with a limited company, what is it you pay? Well, you pay between 19 and 25% in corporation tax, i.e. more money stays in your pocket than in the taxman's pocket. The bonus of this is you can then reinvest that money into more properties. Most people think that they're going to start investing in property, paying themselves, and then living off of the cash flow. But in reality, most investors end up reinvesting on an ongoing basis, and you can do this in the most tax-effective way of the money never leaving the company in the first place. Reason number two, it's easier to scale your portfolio. Most lenders nowadays prefer limited companies when you own multiple properties, and this is due to portfolio lending. Yes, when you get lending from the mortgage companies, they will still ask for personal guarantees. So from a risk point of view, it's very similar for them. But most are now set up for people scaling. Now, the reason why most people do it in a limited company anyway is because of something called Section 24. And essentially, the government, the lending, people, everyone wants people to build their portfolios in a limited company just because it's easier for them to monitor. And so that's why, from a tax point of view, from a lending point of view, and a lot more, which I'll go through, everyone is trying to make it a better approach to build it in the limited company in the first place. So as each year goes on, more and more lenders come to the forefront to lend to limited companies. So if you're serious about growing a large portfolio, a limited company is a must. Number three is protecting your personal assets. So in a limited company, your personal finances are separated. Now this is limited because you will have to sign what is known as a PG, a personal guarantee, especially for your first 5 boring vanilla buy-to-lets. But in general, if you've got savings in an ISA or something like that, they are limited by the amount of risk that's put on them. So risk management is a key piece of investment philosophy at Aspire. And we want to make sure that not only you're keeping your money, but you're also mitigating the risk associated with it. Number four is passing wealth to your family. So this is a really big one. So when you're investing in buy-to-let property, a lot of people think about cash flow, but actually it's capital growth. It's the value of the property going up over time. And what's really key is, unfortunately, the inevitable will happen when you pass away and your kids inherit it, or it's passed to anyone that you want to. There's huge tax implications, up to over 40% in tax with inheritance tax. However, with a limited company structure, you can structure your ownership in a way where shares are given to your children, if you've got kids, before the inevitable happens, and they can inherit the property for almost 0% inheritance tax. Talk to an accountant about that, but you can do it and structure it in a way where it's absolutely 0 inheritance tax once they inherit it. Now the boring bit. We know the benefits of a limited company, but setting it up is another thing. Good news. It's pretty bloody easy. So you can register a limited company in 10 minutes. So you can use a setup business for this and they could charge you hundreds of pounds, or you can just set it up yourself. It costs around £50 with Companies House and takes around 10 minutes to get it done. Now, when you set up a limited company, you will be asked what SIC code, SIC code you will want. And what this is it basically just tells the world what you do in there. Now, the two that I end up looking at is 68100, which is buying and selling of real estate, and 60209, which is essentially rental real estate services. And you can use either of those and you can have up to 4 SIC codes. But in general, when I set up, I tend to do those two and it sets me up properly. The next thing you will need is to set up a business bank account. You cannot do it out of your personal bank account. If I'm honest, most of the time I use Tide. I don't get a referral from them, but I really like using Tide. You then get an accountant who actually understands property. Do not get your local mate down the road that knows how to do it. getting somebody that understands property, get an accountant, get a mortgage broker. Now, my top tip with mortgage brokers is make sure to actually find an investment mortgage broker, not your average mortgage broker. And I'm sorry, estate agents, almost definitely not a mortgage broker referred by an estate agency. Nothing wrong with them at all, but they are working on scale. They're often not an investment specialist, and you want to make sure you get it right. And by the way, if all of this sounds like quite a lot of work, at Aspire Portfolio, this is what we do. We help investors build property portfolios through limited companies a majority of the time without the stress involved. And so if that sounds like something you might be interested in, comment portfolio and I'll send you a link. You can have a chat with the team. I hope that's been valuable. It's a short and sweet, direct video, and hopefully you felt the impact. If you like that sort of video and you want to see more, make sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell. If you want to have a chat with the team about building your portfolio, put portfolio in the comments. I'll put a link in the description. Book in your call. It's completely free, and I'll see you in the next video.